didn't increase the lifespan, but simply treated old diseases and pathologies. My vitality was currently 7, which promised me over 84 years of life. Using math, it appeared that nature provided people with about 120 years. Unlike the average person, a player could well live to reach this age, if they weren't killed, of course, which was a likely turn of events. However, considering the possibility of further leveling up, we were talking about conditional immortality. I think I'm beginning to understand the elves. I ran the razor down my neck, removing the stubble. This had been a very dangerous procedure in the goblin world. There were razors in the fortress, but few people had dared to use them. One wrong move and... Son of a bitch! A raven's head poked out of the mirror. Luckily, I used a safety razor. Otherwise, this joke could have been the last one. For both of us. "Remember," Legion croaked. "Remember." "Crystals?" I asked, cocking my head questioningly. "Where?" The ghost perked up. "No, don't interrupt me. Crystals are important, but I'm talking about my physical body right now. You promised to find me a suitable one." Yes, I said, grimacing. "Wait in the room. We'll search for a suitable captive as soon as I've finished shaving." A system mission was a pretty stressful event. In a classic story, I'd have gone on a bender for several days, especially since the great healing could neutralize the consequences, but I couldn't afford such an indulgence. The same, albeit to a lesser extent, applied to the second tried and tested method, sex. Ladies of easy virtue did not entice me, and I had neither the desire nor, most importantly, the time to find new acquaintances or reconnect with old flames. It was simply irrational. Too many things demanded my attention, and every hour of delay meant missed opportunities. Nor did I feel a particular need to go all out. The idea that no one here would leap out from around the corner and try to kill me was a comfort in itself. In addition, the calculating mind was good for calming the nervous system. So good that it was a little addictive. Being in a state where all problems could be solved with the help of logic was quite tempting. System gifts often had a catch. If not for the need to save mana for the great healing, which repeatedly led me to conclude that prolonged relaxation sessions were irrational, I wouldn't have realized this threat. The other players were clearly having a harder time with the disappearance of the timer. Fear and time to brood could lead to stupidity at times. By the way, my wisdom parameter had reached 6 points, plus the heresy meant that I now had 700 mana units. Or was that only 700? It took me 4 hours to fully restore my mana, and I seemed to draw power from 3 places at once. My magical ability, the source of heresy, and finally, the outside world. Heresy, despite its minimal value, turned out to be the most powerful and deepest source, giving the initially blue mana strip a slightly golden hue. The second most powerful source was magical ability, while I got only crumbs from the outside world. Mana collection required a well-developed skill, and my success was rather modest here, despite the looted books. Mana flows on Earth were much weaker than in the goblin world, but it was amazing that they existed at all. The world was changing, and we could soon see manifestations of what had previously been considered fairy tales. For example, magical abilities in ordinary people, and not just players. Speaking of something more mundane, the presence of free mana meant that my ghosts wouldn't starve to death. It was both a positive, since I had to spend less energy to sustain them, and a negative, since food was an additional leash to ensure they didn't escape. For the raven, I also had the crystals. I very much doubted that Legion would abandon them. After finishing my morning routine and having a bite to eat, I returned to my room. The raven appeared on top of the closet, reminding me of his existence, but I ignored the vile hint. Work came first. I sat down at my laptop. The PC was more powerful and convenient, but I preferred to do all sorts of questionable things from something more mobile. Something clean that held no personal information.